Hi there. Hopefully it is not too noisy. I am Deanne Battle, and I'm the host of the Composite. This is not an episode. This is just a commercial for this week's shows. We will be going live tomorrow at 11:30 a.m. and then Wednesday at 11. Wait, okay, no, sorry. Today is Tuesday. Sorry, I had to take the day of work off, so I'm a little discombobulated. So yes, tomorrow is Wednesday, April 10th. There will definitely be an episode at 11:30-ish. And then Thursday, rinse and repeat, an episode at around 11:30-ish. I'll also put up Instagram stories. So basically, here's what had happened. Last week, I was supposed to go live. But as the season has been shifting, and, a lot of people don't believe in astrology, but I've just, in the last, I want to say 4 or 5 years, the more that I learn, the more that I realize, wow, a lot of this resonates with me. Not all of it, but a lot of it does. I have 5 fire placements, and 4 of them are in Aries. So, and I mentioned the eclipse, I think last episode. But, so essentially right now, on the 25th of March, there was a full moon, I believe, in Libra. I hope I'm not wrong about that. Then, on April 1st, Mercury went into retrograde. And then, as you're aware, yesterday, there was a massive solar eclipse. Now, Sunday and Monday, I didn't sleep. I was in bed and everything. I was ready and prepped to go. I just could not sleep. I was that wired. So I definitely know that there are energies shifting. Again, I am not going to say, oh, it's like 100% correct. But yeah, I don't know if it's because it's spring. Something's shifting because I couldn't sleep. Like I was awake. And then, so I finally fell asleep last night. But, so my energy's just been off. And then I went to try and do an episode last week, or I put up my little ad, and then I went to work, fell asleep, overslept, and I'm just like, I'm just out of sorts. And then my birthday was last week, so it was exactly a week ago. And birthdays for me are good for a couple of things. Like, I take it as a time to schedule my doctor's appointments, which first one today. So I say, okay, we're a year older. Let's go to the doctor. Let's try to do something about the teeth, all the usual stuff. But another thing that I try to do when my birthday season comes around is do a self-assessment. How are we doing? And my self-assessment last week did not come back good. And I was just feeling like, okay, so I've got a show now. Where does my credibility, on any topic come from if I can't even get myself together? So I kind of went through that loop, several times. And so when Thursday came around, I was awake and ready to go, which having a split schedule, some days and some nights, it's challenging, but I was ready to go. But my ego was dying loudly, and I was like, yeah, I can't present myself on social media right now. Excuse me. Now, one thing that I'd mentioned before is evolving or changing how I use this space. It's mostly been, responses to internet culture and things like that. And that'll continue, but I just realized that there's so much out here that we need to see and do and touch that I would like to, again, use Instagram to help tap into. And I'm not being very articulate right now, but I needed to touch grass. So I'm outside. And I needed to reassess. And so I didn't do those 2 episodes last week. But I am going to go live this week. And I would say, like, as I continue to think about, I'm feeling stuck in certain ways right now. Like, how do I fix that? I'll just continue to work through it, because what I was feeling last week was I'm out of sorts. I'm feeling insecure. And why would anyone listen to anything that I have to say? And that was the loop that, or recording that was going last week. And I was just like, I don't want to sit with that energy, or I really don't even want to present it, because even if I didn't make that disclosure that I'm making now, sorry, it's hot out here and I want to take the hat off, but I like the hat. So when I was thinking, and I was like, getting down on myself, which I tend to do, the part that was different was I was just like, okay, I'll work through it. I usually think in the past, I'm like, I try to repress things and just, it's like when the garbage needs to go out, but there's that last little fifth of the top, and you're like, let me shove a little more trash in there, right? Because, why waste the space? You want the garbage bag to be full when you take it out. And so I tend to, things that are, if it's unpleasant, or if I'm avoiding conflict with someone, or if I'm worried about something I can't quite, circle the square, it all gets stuffed in that trash can. And so then I found last week, my birthday was last Tuesday, and I was doing that self-assessment, and I wanted to take that trash out, and I just kind of knocked the can over by accident. And let me tell you, there was all types of shit in that trash. And that's when the ego started dying, because I was looking through it and I was just like, oh, here were places I shouldn't have moved to, dates I shouldn't have gone on, jobs that I shouldn't have taken. And I just kept circling around, because it's just like, there is so much out of my control, but it's just like, well, the only common denominator is me. So, right, I'm like, last Tuesday, so the common denominator is me. So I'm stuck. So this shit is all my fault. Like, all my fault. And I'm, some of that is hyperbole, because like I said, there are things that are extenuating circumstances, right? But like, it's like, as much as you run from yourself, like, there you are. And so I was having one of those moments. So yeah, I just didn't do the show. I didn't, that's not the energy I wanted to bring. I want to, if I ever get it to the point where people are like actually watching this, I want it to be space and permission to connect, space and permission to really be honest about how you're feeling in such turbulent times as we are in right now. And then how can you then take that to uplift someone else or connect to someone else? So that's what I'm interested in. And I just didn't feel like me whining about my midlife crisis would contribute to that in a positive way. So there's that. But I did want to come on and say that, because one of the most deleterious things about the internet is that, and people say this all the time, right? Like, you're going through your moments, and then people are posting like, oh, their best day ever, on their different social media sites. And it's, how can you get to a place where, right, if this is the main way that we're connecting with people at the moment, how can you get to a place where this thing here is a little more authentic? I'm not sure how, but like I said, hopefully this might contribute something for someone. And I know I've mentioned it several times, but as evolution is painful. It's painful. And so as it's happening, like, I can feel things changing. I can feel like like for example, I won't go into details, but I was talking to someone at work and they said something and it was totally, no heat behind the comment or whatever. But in that moment, it was crazy because I could see both of my timelines. I could see how the old me would respond and feel like wounded and hurt. And then I could see how I'm now responding in a more grounded, like, oh, well, that is, odd, but let me just ask a question and figure it out. And like I said, it turned out to be nothing but like this core of me that's like super, super ultra sensitive. I'm not sure why, but it's taken a long time to like have enough of a callus on the outside to like be more extroverted and outgoing. But again, like I said, there's two versions of me, and like in another version, I said something and I guess the person thought I mispronounced a word, and so she asked me about it, and then I'm like, in my head I was thinking, is she like language policing me? Is this a microaggression? Do I need to say anything? But I said, you know what, dear, I'm like, so what are you gonna do? You'll say something, and then if that's not what she meant, now there's a dust up, and it's like, this is a person that's close to you, whatever. So I just was like, why don't you just give yourself a little bit of time to process? And you know what? The next time I saw her, she brought it up again, and I said, I had no idea what the hell you were talking about. And we had a laugh, she explained, and we moved on. But again, I could see the two different timelines, because there was one version of me like, if this white woman doesn't stop right now, and I really like her, but if she doesn't stop. But then there was another version of me like, I think there's a piece, Deanne, that you are missing, and wait for it, give it a second. And I gave it a second, and then I said, holy shit, this is all my fault. So let me make the connection. The connection is not that there weren't external dastardly people or situations, but just that what would have happened in those crisis moments if I would have changed my perception. And I think that that's the thing that's like kicking my ass this last week. I'm just like, what is it about me that I had that perception of attack from a majority of the world? But then I really felt it. But now I just mostly feel ignored. But I was listening to this thing in the car because I was on my way home. Excuse me. And the guy said something so articulate. He said, oftentimes, let me paraphrase, you are holding on to a pain body, which if you just listen to it, then you wouldn't need that pain body anymore. So let me explain further. So my understanding of a pain body is, I'm not a psychologist, but you know how like psychological lingo, once people go to a couple of therapy sessions, it comes into social media as well, right? Because people are using that language. But my understanding of pain body is, it's like this, again, callus, right? Or a shell that you are developing to protect you from a particular thing. And so he's saying like, you don't need the armor if you're just listening to yourself in terms of boundaries and, like what your limits are about your interactions. And he said it, and I was in the car. I was like, oh, wow, I think that's it. I think I was just really restricted, for whatever reason. But see, now I'm expanding, but it just kind of hurts, right? Because it's like that stretch mark, it just needs, it's just pulling, it's pulling. But I mean, I'm hoping, right, that what I end up with on the other side is very productive. let's find a better word than productive. Rewarding, personally rewarding. I want to feel grounded in the internal changes, right? But then also, hopefully, that leads to more community, right? If you're hopefully working on yourself and not flying off on the handle. Ooh, excuse me. Spring allergies, so I gotta take care of that. All right, I'm gonna go off. That wasn't cute. I'm gonna hang up soon. Anyway, but right, so the hope is that if people have around you, right, can see that you've done work on yourself, right, they'll want to engage with you more. But then also that the people that you will attract, coming forward, are attracted to this new energy that you were providing. But my mom has I forgot how she phrased it at the moment, but she would say, like, anything that you're willing to admit about yourself, right, and be honest with yourself, it can't be or shouldn't be painful coming from somebody else, right? Because you are aware, you said it first. And so I needed to have that moment where, now initially I had it in my apartment. I was talking to myself in the kitchen. I was like, oh, I'm the problem. Yeah. I laughed a little. I cried a little. But, again, this is the additional rollout. I'm the problem. And I'm trying to fix it. So I'll see you on the other side of that. But then also, too, I think an issue is that I don't give myself enough grace. And I'm learning how to do it, but it's awkward, right? It's like if you met a new person and they seem super cool and you're like, I'm going to be besties with them in 6 months, but this is our first conversation. So do I shake hands? Do we fist bump? Like what happens right now, even though we know 6 months down the line, this is going to be wonderful. And so that's how I introduced myself to grace. So it's a little awkward right now, but 6 months from now, I hope we're better acquainted and we have a good relationship. And that, what else? And that neuroticism can sit out for a little bit. But those were the things that I was thinking about. So thank you to anyone that takes time to listen. Commercial plug for tomorrow, Wednesday, April 10th, and Thursday, April 11th, at 11:30-ish. I'm going to do my best to be on time. Giving myself grace. That's a little bit. Giving myself like 5 to 15 minutes of a, literal grace period to start the show. That's a big deal for me. So the show will happen tomorrow, will happen Thursday, and I hope that you all enjoyed your eclipse. I did not enjoy mine, but I think it's clearing away some good stuff for me. Clearing away some bad stuff so the good stuff can come in. Enjoy the rest of your day today, and I'll see you for the rest of the Composite Season 3. Take care.